All right, so this is the Chapter 12 overview of the Actividades. Activities 1 and 2 are both really obvious. Just read the directions, use your vocabulary list. Activity 3 is the speaking assignment. So keep it, I would say, just really repetitive. Say, in whatever room there is or are, and then say the furniture. So every time you're going to start with in the whatever, la sala there. It might be el instead of la. And then I is there is or there are. And then tell me what the furniture is. So that's it. For activity 4, so this one, you're supposed to say who in your house does the chores. So they give you a bunch of different chores. Use your vocabulary list, or sometimes it's not a chore, just who does whatever the things are. So you'll just say whatever the verb or verb phrase is. Make sure and conjugate it. So this one was I wash the dishes. And then you're going to say where. So you're going to have your verb. In this case, it was a verb phrase. Hey, Abel. So a verb or verb phrase. Make sure and conjugate it. And then you'll say in. And then you'll say whatever room it is. And it might be el or la, just depending on what it is. Okay, activity 5. So for this one, let's see. You're supposed to talk about your dream home. Where's it at? Is it an apartment or a house? How many floors and rooms does it have? What's the layout like? So I'm saying at least 10 sentences. And just some helpful words here. The verb estar is to be. So you would say it is, so make sure and conjugate it. And that's talking about location. So that's saying just where is your house or apartment. Ser is also to be. And you'll want to, again, make sure and conjugate it. And that's where you could say it is a house. Or you could give different characteristics. So remember, you don't use a star with characteristics. You use ser for characteristics. So is it big? What color is it? Different things like that. And then if you want to say it has, the verb's tener. So you can say it has however many rooms, it has however many floors. Again, make sure and conjugate. And then if you want to say there is or there are somewhere, that's that word I. So I is actually already a conjugated verb, so you don't have to change it. So again, make sure and conjugate estar, ser, and tener if and when you need to do that. All right, looking at activity 6. So look at the picture of the room, write a paragraph describing the room. Again, you've got 3 writing prompts on there in your activity. I would say use those. So, en la habitación de Camilo hay. In Camilo's room, there is. So then you just say what is in the room. La cama está. The bed is. And estar is talking about location. So it's next to or something like that. La habitación es. Es is from ser, so it is one in characteristics. The room is big. The room is white. Stuff like that. Do use some prepositions in there for sure. You'll need to use one with that second sentence, definitely. All right, activity 7. So this one says, imagine you're selling your house. And so you're going to write a description of your house. Want to make it sound really, really good. So again, this is hopefully getting a little bit repetitive from where you've already written some stuff about your house. So at least 10 vocab words from the chapter. That doesn't mean it has to be 10 sentences, just 10 vocab words. So ser, estar, and tener, we've talked about those. Ser and estar are to be, tener is to have, and estar specifically is location, ser is specifically physical characteristics, and then to have, tener. So you could say it has a pool. It is, you would have to do some research here, but it's in the heart of Clinton. It doesn't have to be true, just, anything at all is good in there. And then this word, there is or there are, I, that's always a helpful word. All right, let's take a look at activity 8. So think about where you live. Describe your home. Is it an apartment or a house? How many rooms does it have? What furniture do you have in each room? This, again, we're seeing a lot of repetition. This is very similar to another activity that you have. So we're seeing again, estar for location, ser for physical characteristics, tener, to have, and then this word I, there is or there are. So that's all old Spanish 1 stuff. I'm just going to remind you, conjugate your verbs. For activity 9, this one is definitely wanting you to use some prepositions. So it says, write 10 sentences describing your room, explain where different items are located. So it's wanting stuff like what we have here. There is a lamp on the table. So una lámpara. And then if you'll look at the list, they've got a lot of different options. If the lamp is on the table, I'm going to go with encima de la mesa. But I followed this pattern. I, noun, prepositional phrase, other noun. That's all there is to it. All right, activity 10, tareas de la casa. So household chores. So for this one, they've given us the different chores. And we are going to use, if you look in the directions, it says to use tener que or deber. So every time on this activity, we're going to say, en mi familia, whatever person has to or should do whatever the chore is. So take a look at my example. En mi familia, in my family, my sister has to, and I conjugated tener. Barrer, I did not conjugate because she has to sweep the floors. If I said tiene que barre, that would be she has to, she sweeps. So you only need one conjugated verb when you have a verb phrase. All right, let's take a look at activity 11. For this one, let's see. Oh, you're just writing true or false. So are these things true or false for your family? And then down at the bottom, you're actually going to turn these into sentences. So for the ones that you marked false, you're just going to rewrite the sentences. So switch the subject, change the verb if you need to. So if it said, up at the top, maybe it said, mi madre lava la ropa. Maybe I want to say, no, my mom doesn't wash clothes, I wash clothes. So then I'm going to change lava to lavo. Yo lavo la ropa. So that's what you're doing in part B. So activity 12, we are practicing our obligations vocabulary. So tener que and deber. This is the formula. You're going to start with who it is, and then say that they have to or they should, and then whatever the chore is. And some, like in my example, I didn't say comer is not really a chore, that's to eat. So I have to eat. Or I could have said yo debo, I should eat. Now notice in here, I conjugated tengo and I conjugated debo. I did not conjugate comer. So keep that in mind. All right, activity 13. So for this one, it says that you're going to look at the family's chore schedule and you're going to write sentences about what that person has to do on the day that's given. Notice in the directions it says use tener que and deber in your sentences. So take a look at your chore chart here, and then you're just going to start off with the name of the person. So here, lunes and papa. So Monday and dad. Look at your schedule. On Monday, lunes, and then find papa, and it says lavar la ropa. So I'm going to say, Dad has to wash the clothing on Mondays. Or I could have said, Papa should wash the clothing on Mondays. Either way, you're going to start off with your subject, which we have here, and then conjugate tener or deber, and it's up to you. Conjugate it to go with that subject. And then the chore, notice here I did not conjugate my verb. Did not conjugate. And then say los, because that's on Mondays or Tuesdays or whatever. And then say the day of the week. All right, activity 14. Let's see. So this one, you're just putting it in order. Use your vocabulary list. For activity 15, again, use your vocabulary list. You're just putting in the blanks whatever makes sense. Do remember, look at what is said next. And it should be set up to where you don't reuse any of the answers. All right, let's look at activity 16. It says to use vocabulary from the chapter. Oh, pretty simple. So like in number 1, mujer says diga. If you look on your vocab list, that should tell you, that's one way that you can say hello if somebody calls on the phone. So hello, and then how would you respond? Now, if you look at number 2, it says de parte de quién. So look at that, find out what that means, find out what a good response would be. And that is it for chapter 12. Remember, if you have questions, I am on Zoom, usually around 10 o'clock, at least for now. I send out a remind text message. I will see you then.